Good evening and happy Sunday. Welcome to episode 2 of the Dolphins Dive. I'm Justin, joined by my good pal Connor. We got a pretty good lineup of content for you guys here today. We're going to be first going over Connor's studs and duds from training camp. Now that that's sort of over, we're getting truly into the preseason now. We're going to review the game yesterday, Miami Dolphins versus Chicago Bears. As we all saw, Chicago took the win 20-13. It's a pretty well-fought game on both sides. After that, we're going to do a little bit of rookie QB talk, get out some of that non-Dolphins content for you guys, because I know not everybody watching is a Dolphins fan. But after that, we're going to preview next week's game against the Atlanta Falcons, and then after that, we're going to do a little bit of Q&A. So, drop your questions in the chat. Anything you want to know, it doesn't have to be Dolphins related. We'll answer it. And in the meantime, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Dolphins Dive. Join Connor and myself and also producer Splash on U Stadium. Download the U Stadium app. Also, feel free to super chat. We're broke college students. We need money. So feel free to do that. If you love our content, engage with us. Post your questions in the chat. Join us on the U Stadium app. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And why don't we go ahead and hop right into it? Going in episode 2. Connor, how are you doing today?
Doing well. I was just going to say, I dare some of these jet spots to test me. I'll come for the jugular. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm doing good. Got off work, so whenever I'm not working, I'm happy. You feel me? Madden's right around the corner, so Madden football, I'm ready to go.
You buying Madden this year?
Oh, yeah, it's already purchased.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think I am because I don't have a PS5 yet, and I don't think it's going to be the same product on the PS4. Splash, I have the thing up if you want. Oh, thank you, Jack. Let's go.
Jack,
super chat.
You're
the GOAT. You're the GOAT, Jack.
You're user one. That's period. You're the best user on the U Stadium app. Don't crash. I mean, you shouldn't even be driving it on the phone, Jack. Come on now. But I appreciate you, big dog.
Yeah, Jack being a bad influence. But why don't we go ahead and jump right into it? We'll start off with Connor's studs and duds from the training camp period. So we can go ahead and get that up there.
Perfect. So number one, everybody's favorite quarterback, including Jets fans, the dog, Tua Tagovailoa. Then Albert Wilson, Waddle. I mean, you guys see the list. Tua has shown great leaps and bounds of improvement, but obviously it's kind of what Dolphins fans expected, especially with the new offense. He's just looked comfortable. He's taken a big leadership role, which is what you want to see from the quarterback. Albert Wilson, I feel like, is probably, along with Kirk Merritt, probably the biggest surprise on this list. Coming off the opt-out, no one expected him. Honestly, most people probably expect him to probably get cut because I think he's due a decent chunk of money for what he was, but he's balled out in the outside, but we know his value in the slot. So he's shown tremendous value. And then the rookie Waddle, electric. He's been hard to cover. He cooked some Bears in one-on-ones. Honestly, I feel like most Dolphins receivers were cooking the Bears in one-on-ones. To be fair, it is a receiver drill. I feel like for the most part, it's
especially in the red zone. That's where they really made their money's worth.
Yeah. And then the guy I'm most impressed with is Javon Holland. The guy has just continuously gotten better. And especially the role he's being asked to play in the defense, which is replacing Bobby McCain, who's basically the quarterback of the defense. So he's got a ton of responsibilities, and it's a big communication role. But, so the way I say it is, Bobby McCain played the position great. He didn't let up anything. Everything over top was secure with him. But I feel like Javon Holland, ideally, it might take some time, but he'll provide that, but then he'll provide ball hawking skills, and he's got a little more range. So I think he's more of a playmaker than Bobby was, but I love Bobby. Yeah. And then Kirk Merritt has just been crushing the third teamers. Shout out Dan in the chat.
Yep.
So how do you feel about those guys?
Yeah, I agree. These were a lot of my picks as well. If I were to pick some training camp studs, especially Albert Wilson, who was a very big surprise for me. He had 4 60-plus yard touchdowns in as many days. Through training camp. I agree with your point on Javon Holland. I think maybe this year, I believe we mentioned this last show, but maybe this year, that position, the center field safety, will be a little bit of a downgrade. But as time goes on and as Holland gets more reps, more development, he'll eventually provide more for us than Bobby was able to.
I mean, even
No
right
disrespect
now,
to Bobby,
it doesn't
but
look too bad. Like he's been balling.
yeah. He'll definitely provide more range, more ball hawk skills. Also, rushing the passer. He had 4.5 sacks in his career at Oregon. So we
Even
know how
Flores.
much Josh Boyer and Flores love to just have the most random players rush the quarterback. So we might see him in the backfield a few times. He's pretty good in run support too.
Yeah, he can play
Tua, I
slot.
was pleasantly surprised by Tua in this training camp. I wasn't expecting him to like absolutely light it up or anything, but he exceeded my expectations. So it's good for him. Jalen Waddle, of course, we all expected him to come in and flash the speed, flash the explosiveness. And of course, we had Kirk Merritt just absolutely wrecking the third teamers. But for every stud, there's also somebody who's not performing as well. So we have
That
5
is
duds
true.
lined up here.
I will say though, the duds list was very difficult to make, and honestly, like they're kind of duds just because I couldn't think of anybody else off the top. But Solomon Kinley came in last year. He was the starting left guard, or I don't even. He was guard. He switched back and forth, but so then when he came into camp and he wasn't starting, it kind of was a dud. But Eichenberg went down with an injury and he stepped in. He hasn't looked great, but he hasn't looked terrible. So.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who provides big size at the guard position. He's not going to overwhelm you, but he should be able to hold his own. Matt Skura, once again, I mean, he's a guy that you came in predicting he'd be the starting center. He isn't, but it seems like kind of, especially in the preseason game, he's shown to be solid, but once again, nothing crazy. Will Fuller's just been a disappointment simply due to injury. Hopefully, I don't know what the timeline is, but it seems like he's inching his way back once we get him back.
Remember, he's suspended week 1, so his first game will be week 2.
I forgot Will Fuller. Damn. Which, I mean, I guess it does technically give him more time to just make sure he's 100% when he comes back.
Yeah, I honestly doubt he plays in the remaining preseason games.
Yeah, I just want to see him get back, build the chemistry with Tua. And just see how the offense operates when you got Fuller, Waddle, Wilson, and Parker. Like it affects how the offense will operate. Igbenogany, I mean, once again, he's shown flashes of good and then flashes of poor. So even crap, I'm blanking. I think it was GA, Dolphins DB coach Gerald Alexander. He's like Igbenogany. He's got all the talent in the world. Obviously, he's a physical specimen. And he's still young to the position, and they're just trying to instill the continuous fundamentals and technique, and he shows flashes of that. And when he does, he can lock receivers down, but then obviously there's times where it slips away from him and big plays happen. So it's just a matter of creating it consistently for Igbenogany. I think obviously when you're a first-round pick, there's high expectations. I think he's going to continuously get better, and hopefully – if he's needed, he'll be able to step up to the dish. And then Allen Hurns is, by the day, looking more and more like a cut candidate. Missed the preseason game due to injury. So, especially with how deep the Dolphins' receiving room is, and he's had some drops and a fumble, I just don't see him making the squad. But the expectations really weren't too high for Allen Hurns.
Splash, I just want to point out something. You're missing somebody in that worst offensive grade. We'll get to that later, but
oh no,
we will mention that later. I just want to say you're missing a big one in that little tab right there.
A dookie.
But yeah, as we said, we'll get to that later. But I agree. Solomon Kinley, I was really confused to see him running with the third team a lot. A lot of people said it's a conditioning thing, or mayhaps like, coaches want some different things going on, and he's not bringing it, like pulling. He's a big boy. He's a mauler. He's not exactly the most athletic of people. But I think as the preseason goes on, as they start getting more reps with, the pads on, like true game situations, he'll climb his way back up into the depth chart and hopefully be starting week 1, because I really liked what I saw out of him last season. Skura should start. He, despite, being on the second team for all of training camp and not being that dynamic really, I think he should start, especially considering what we saw out of Dieter yesterday. He got put on his ass a couple times. Skura didn't have any pressures, no hurries allowed or anything. He was solid. So I think despite, his disappointing training camp, he should work his way back up into that starting position over Dieter. I hope the coaches realize that because for some reason they love Dieter.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. I want to see how the coaches handle that preseason from the offensive line, if they're going to actually change it up, because for the most part, the starting five has stayed the same through training camp.
Yeah. And as mentioned, we'll get into that later. Will Fuller, we talked about it. It's due to injury. I just hope he stays healthy. The injury. I mean, if you're gonna get hurt, training camp is like the ideal time, and I don't think it's a serious injury, right? Like he's just being held out as like a precaution. So, yeah, it makes sense to hold him out. He's like a 6-7 year vet at this point, so he's been through this. But as mentioned, the chemistry is important. But hopefully, I'd like to see him on the field for the third preseason game. Probably, maybe get a few snaps in there. Igbo, we talked about him. I've lamented about Igbo plenty of times. He had one nice play yesterday, or two nice plays. He had a couple of pass breakups, but there was also, times when he showed his inexperience. His doesn't exactly have the best ball skills in the world. And then Hearns, as mentioned, he's just been quiet this whole training camp. And, if you're quiet and you're already like way down on the depth chart, that does not bode well for you. But why don't we go into the game yesterday? So you got a quick recap, Bears, of course, coming away with the win, 20-13. Dolphins jumped out to a 13-0 lead. Then Bears went on to score 20 unanswered once our 13 defense came in. Tua Tagovailoa, 8 for 11, 99 yards, interception. Ahmed led the backs with 40 yards, also had a reception touchdown from Brissett. Gesicki led the receivers with 56 yards. Lynn Bowden also had 4 catches of his own. Over on the Bears side, you see Justin Fields played most of the second quarter and third quarter. Went 14-20, 142 yards, had 2 total touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. Pierce led the way for the Bears backs, had 50 yards, and I believe it's Rodney Adams, 4 receptions, 57 yards. I might have messed up his first name. I don't know.
Don't know who he is.
He was catching the ball from Fields mainly in the third quarter.
Okay.
So the key team stats, Miami had 15 first downs to Chicago's 12. Miami was all right on third down, 6 of 15. They were executing much better in the first half. 5.2 yards per play. And then the key stat, 0 of 3 in the red zone. We will talk about the red zone execution in a little bit. That was the stat that jumped out to me the most. On the Bears side, 12 first downs, 3 of 12 on third downs. Miami's third down defense continues to shine. That was really encouraging to see. 6.6 yards per play, and then the key stat for Chicago, the one that jumped out to me, was 7.1 yards per rush. That's something that needs to be cleaned up. So, from you, what jumps out of this?
The first thing is, I just want to lay it out there. Don't overreact to preseason. There is some things to take away, obviously. The first thing, the red zone. The Dolphins aren't going to be a team that's going to be consistently able to push their way into the red zone. It's going to have to be schematically, and it's got to be cool, like play design stuff. I think that's a thing to take note of. Also, I like Justin Fields. I do. I'm a Ohio State fan. Like, he's my guy. But goofball, you saying the game slowed down for you? Yeah, sure. After the entire team got pulled, and then the second team got pulled, homeboy, the Bears did not have they went 3 and out the entire first half of the game. Let's slow your roll, big dog. I appreciate you, and you did good, but slow your roll. Third down defense, like you said, electric. The Dolphins showed a good ability to move the chains, which I was happy with.
Yeah, I agree.
But don't like our ability to run the ball. I think it'll get opened a little bit during the once again, it's kind of schematics that I feel like we're gonna have to find our way. We're not gonna just be able to outstrength teams. It's gonna have to be motion, scheme, that's how we're gonna have to get our way. But Tua looked sharp besides the pick. Gesicki's Gesicki. Good luck covering the big dog.
Yeah, that beautiful 50-yard catch and run.
Yeah. Not mentioned in these stat sheets is Austin Jackson absolutely shitting the bed. I
As
think
mentioned earlier, we'll get into that.
I can maybe get drafted by the Dolphins and play some left tackle, baby. Good thing it's not the blind side at this point. Like, it's a little rough.
I was talking about that with somebody earlier. I was like, our right side, our left side may suck, but at least it's not Tua's blind side. Like our right side was pretty solid. And
I was saying, every time I went on Twitter, it was just a new clip of Austin Jackson just getting cooked.
Watching the film back, even Omar Kelly said this, like Tua's pockets were actually relatively clean. Like I believe there was a little bit of an overreaction. Of course, like we weren't overreacting about Austin Jackson. Like he was straight up bad. But if you like watch it like big picture, like the rest of the line was not bad at all. It was an average day for them. So relatively clean pockets. And there was that one, as mentioned earlier, the 50-yard play to Gesicki. He had a ton of time. He just waited for Gesicki to get open and he threw a bomb. So if Austin Jackson can clean his stuff up, if Skura starts, if Eichenberg comes back healthy, I think this offensive line will show progress.
What I will say is Dolphins fans, all the time, listen, he's not the best player in the world, but Jesse Davis is probably the Dolphins' second best lineman. And Dolphins fans always want to get him out of the starting lineup. I mean, even today on Twitter, I was going to war. Like, listen, I'm not the biggest Jesse Davis fan, but when you compare him to the rest of the five guys, he's one of the best guys we got. So you got to deal with it because, he's not a sexy name. He's not going to do anything terrific, but he didn't make any noise in a good way. So you got to take it. But the run game is concerning. But I think as you said, the pass protection wasn't as bad as it maybe seemed. On the big play to Gesicki, they did a good job like passing off I think it was a stunt. So that's what bought Tua the time to be able to. And that was a beautiful throw. Like he had a little bit of separation, and that's the thing Tua does so well is he's able to throw receivers open, and that's why Gesicki was able to run 50 yards or whatever, how long it was.
Yeah. I believe it was a 30-yard throw, 20-yard run after the catch. But another thing, you touched on this earlier, we're not going to overreact to preseason. Like we're going to talk about it because, that's what we got to talk about for right now. We're getting our first Dolphins football since
I was excited.
December. Yeah, I was excited too.
I'm not one to get excited for preseason.
Yeah. First Dolphins football since December, It's good to see, what the new pieces look like, what the new offense looks like. But regular season is when it truly matters. We are aware of this. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of studs and duds, how about we go into my own studs and duds from the preseason week 1 game? So I know what the immediate reaction is. Why is Tua Tagovailoa up here? I will talk about
Tua turned the ball over.
Oh my god, that nickname is so.
Fight me, literally.
So unoriginal.
I'll drop the address right now. Come get me.
So the immediate reaction is, why is Tua up here? Tua was great for, well, I wouldn't say great. Tua looked good for 99%. Every single snap up until the interception, Tua looked really good. Started off with a good pass that was dropped and then a throwaway. It was a good throwaway. Don't force it into coverage. It looked ugly, but it was the right play. I do have some plays linked because I wanted to show some clips, do a little bit of film study, but I was told that we might get hit with a copyright strike. So I'm just going to describe the play from memory. You guys are just going to have to hopefully remember, because I hope people are watching actually watch the game. But if not, as mentioned, Tua started with a good throw to Shaheen that was dropped, then had a throwaway. Second drive, moved the ball down the field. Of course, there was the aforementioned throw to Gesicki. He had a ton of time, and that's what I hope to see a lot more of during the season is, those plays, once he gets time, we have to take advantage of those because there's no guarantee that that's going to happen every single play. And he took advantage of it right there, and that's what I want to see. 30-yard touch throw to Gesicki. It was right on the money, allowed him to keep running. Gesicki made a nice play. I almost put Gesicki up here for that play alone. But there were a lot of good players on there today. So as for the interception, it's not 100% his fault. It's about 50-50 on him and Shaheen. Tua had a red zone. I believe it was throw from the 20. He went over the middle to Shaheen. It was not a bad throw. It was not
It
a bad
was
decision.
late. It was late, but
yes,
she
it was late.
definitely could have came back to it. But I think that's something you learn to move on from. I'm not too worried about him.
Mm-hmm.
People love to overreact to anything Tua does, so we're chilling.
Yeah, it was a late throw. So where's my Eric Rowe love? I almost put Eric Rowe up here, but
we all love Eric Rowe.
Yeah, we all love Eric Rowe, and I'll actually talk. I'll talk a little bit about Eric Rowe later in the show, so stick around for that. But yeah, it was just poor execution on all sides. It wasn't a bad play call. It wasn't a bad throw. It wasn't necessarily a bad read. Shaheen was open. I wish I could show you guys the clip. And I really wish
he hesitated. I did know that he definitely hesitated, and then he threw it late. And there's something. Shout out Spano. I don't always agree with you, big dog, but Spano said, and he was generalizing. This specific play was correct. He doesn't have enough arm strength to overcompensate for a late read, and that was the case there.
Yeah. So I mean, he can put some zip on the ball. It was just in that particular case, it was a little bit late. It was a great play by the safety. I mean, he might have earned himself a roster spot with that one. So props to the safety. The Bears have a great defense. They have some playmakers. It's just a case of, offense like misexecuting or miscommunicating and the defense taking advantage of it. So props to that. And it's going to happen with young quarterbacks especially. I'm not overly worried about it, but I just don't want it to become a consistent thing, And
once again, like, interceptions don't matter in the preseason. For all we know, Tua could throw no interceptions in the preseason and they'll 15 or vice. It's weird because sometimes good preseason play will correlate to regular season, and then sometimes it literally has no correlation whatsoever. So it's like you gotta take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you never know. And I believe somebody in the app said this, but if Gesicki is being thrown that ball, he probably breaks it up, or knocks it down, or knocks it out.
Or catches it. It's Gesicki.
Or maybe catches it. But
throw back to the Chiefs game, triple coverage.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was one of my favorite plays. But enough quarterback talk. We get enough of that. Savann Ahmed is my second stud of the day. I almost forgot about him. I almost forgot about putting him up here, but he had some nice carries. There was a draw where he took it for about 20 yards or so. I was really impressed with his speed. Myles Gaskin also showed off some pretty good speed in his limited action. But Ahmed, what I was impressed with was the wheel route, the touchdown from Brissett. I wish I could show you guys that, but we saw that play during training camp. We saw Tua throw that ball, the wheel route to Ahmed. And it's good to have a true receiving back because Myles Gaskin, while he showed some receiving prowess, he's not like a true receiving back. If Ahmed can become that third down receiving back option, or just like a guy that we get into space, get out in some screens, and let him fly down the sideline, then I'm all for that. And I'm glad to see that he's working on his hands. Speaking of hands, Mac Hollins had some crazy catches yesterday. Again, I'm going to mention Tua a few times throughout this, but Tua had a very nice throw to Mac Hollins into a tight window. It's one thing Tua excels at is throwing into tight windows. I was really excited to see that.
What do you mean? You can only throw to wide open receivers out of Alabama. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Again, I really wish I could show the clip, but threw a. Did you hear that?
You're gonna die.
Yeah, Zeus is after me today. But Tua threw it on a rope to Mac Hollins, tight window. Mac Hollins went up and got it, and as mentioned, the previous show, Mac Hollins was my pick, to be a surprise to make the team. He brings special teams value as a gunner, and he was roasting this Bears secondary in the joint practices. Had a nice catch today. Had another catch in the red zone that brought us to the 1 yard line. Fortunately, we couldn't finish, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. My other stud was Jakeem Grant, and I love the slander Jakeem Grant for his lack of hands and his, general.
I think all Dolphins fans do.
General inability to produce on offense, but he heard that Jalen Waddle might be taking his job as punt returner, and he said, "No, sir."
His agent got mad about that too. Did you see that on Twitter a couple weeks ago? I mean, he shows it though.
He was like, "Nah, that punt return job is mine," and he showed it. He had a couple very nice. He had two 20-plus yard returns, including a 34-yard.
Too.
Yeah, Waddle did have a great one, and then Jakeem was like, "I'm gonna
Hold
one
my
up you."
beer.
Yeah, so good. I'm totally okay with having him, as a return specialist. He was 5 return touchdowns in as many years, and if he continues to show out, then I'd say he earns himself that roster spot as a return specialist. And then my last stud from yesterday, Nick Needham. You know, there are two types of Nick Needham. There's the Nick Needham we got yesterday, and then there's Week 17 versus the Bills Nick Needham. I want the Nick Needham that we had yesterday. I want that all the time. He had a couple of nice PBUs. Broke up a deep ball from Justin Fields. Broke up a 3rd and short throw from Andy Dalton over the middle. So, Nick Needham, please. We want preseason week 1 Nick Needham. We want against the Jets Nick Needham. We want.
Let me speak on Nick Needham real quick.
Okay,
I feel like Nick Needham was good all of last season, aside from that Week 17 game. I think
exactly.
I'm pretty sure the numbers were, and it's PFF grain of salt, as screaming. So Needham, I don't think he let up a touchdown all of the previous season, besides the Bills game where he gave up 3 to Isaiah McKenzie. But he was all over the field. It was multiple times between Dalton and Fields. They were trying to go immediately to the slot, and Needham just fucking blew that shit up. Excuse my language. And he's going to be going to war with Justin Coleman for that slot position. So Nick Needham's a dog. He as much as the Dolphins want to replace him, they can't. He's always there.
Yeah, I want to address that comment from Mike. Ahmed running back 1. Ahmed running back 2. Sorry, buddy.
We've had this discussion in a group chat. Mike refuses to give up with Ahmed. I love Ahmed. I don't want Malcolm Brown on the field with the first teams unless it's at the goal line, or 3rd and inches. I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, we'll get the Malcolm Brown in a little bit. But yeah, Ahmed running back 2. Gaskin has the number 1 spot locked down. I love Ahmed. Dolphins fans everywhere love Ahmed. Yeah, he'll be a good complimentary option. But as mentioned earlier, for every stud, there's a dud. I had a little bit of trouble finding guys, but there was one that was really not that hard to put on this list. Austin Jackson, 2020 first-round pick out of USC, had a very up-and-down rookie season. We all knew he was a project, but he had his moments. He wasn't like otherworldly bad. He wasn't like Eric Flowers on the Giants bad.
Shout out Eric Flowers.
Yesterday, he was Eric Flowers on the Giants bad tenfold. 18 pass blocking snaps, 5 quarterback pressures given up, 4 quarterback hurries given up, 1 quarterback hit. That's 10 times he lost the rep. 8 versus good. 8 times winning the rep.
I think I found what the problem is, though. It's because we don't have Eric Flowers on our team anymore. I think he started to embody him now. So I think we got to trade him back.
Man, now I got to be the Eric Flowers. But all that I mentioned earlier, Splash, you were missing a grade on the Dolphins' worst grades. All that for a PFF grade of 31.8.
I'm shocked it's that high.
That is the lowest I've ever seen a PFF grade go. I believe that might have been his pass blocking grade, so his overall grade might have been a little bit higher. He wasn't anything special in the run game either, though, so I don't know why it would be. But Austin Jackson, yesterday, you just got to move on from it. Like, don't think about it anymore. Just move on and hopefully be better.
That's the way I'm approaching it. Is like I just want to like feel like it was like I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was a quarterback. It was Ed Reed or whatever who like intentionally let like someone beat him so that later on in the season he can just go back. That's how Austin Jackson showing off his hands that way when they're preparing for him and they look at that game, they're like, oh, I'm going to do this, and he's prepared. It's just a nightmare, Yeah. Next week will be good.
Yeah, and there's Austin Jackson's actual grade, 47.3 overall. A little high, in my opinion. But, I mean, hey, at least he's not sub 50 in run blocking anymore. So I guess that's a little bit encouraging. But that 31.8 pass blocking grade is horrendous, and I really hope that it doesn't stay there.
I'm sure you saw the picture, too, where, like, he literally got thrown, and it almost was season-ending injury for Tua, like, literally right at his feet. Like, that's, guys, you can't be out-pushed like that.
Yeah, and as mentioned earlier, we had clips lined up, but the copyright strike claim threat, we didn't want to risk that for the network. But The clip I had lined up for Austin Jackson was actually the Savann Ahmed touchdown. So, it worked out. But if you watch that play back, I know copyright, but I have to put this up there. So just let me.
I think we got like 15 seconds to not do it, so I think you're good.
I just have to show this.
Come get us, YouTube. Come get us.
Okay, let me go back to the beginning. Watch Austin Jackson. He's right here, going up against this edge guy right here. He doesn't put a hand on him.
The funniest thing about that is you look at it, and the guy's last name's Max. I'm like, oh shit, it was Khalil Mack. It makes a little sense. No, it's Khalil Mack's little brother. I don't know his name. I didn't even know he had a little brother. I don't know where he's from.
He was undrafted, I think.
Like, I was like, oh, Mac. Like, because you can justify if it's Khalil. And then I was like, wait, 53? That's not right. And then I go to the Bears depth chart. I'm like, God damn it. It's like something else, Mac. Like, come on, bro.
So, yeah, I think we've slandered Austin Jackson enough for one day. We got our feelings out.
I believe in him.
He was PFF's second worst offensive tackle of everybody who played yesterday. You want to know who was first? The man right next to him, Adam Pankey. 30 pass blocking grade. 30. I literally just said, like, that's the lowest I've ever seen a PFF grade go. Pankey just decided, like, oh, I'm going to one-up him. So I guess at least Austin Jackson has the solace in knowing that he's not the worst tackle in the depth chart.
Safe.
Nobody's really going to take over from them. I mean, Eichenberg played left tackle in college, but I'm not sure if Eichenberg is athletic enough to play tackle at the next level. He might have guard in his future. So I'm hoping the lineup looks like AJ on the left tackle, maybe Eichenberg at left guard, Skur at center, Kinley at right guard, and then Kinley or Davis, I wouldn't be mad about either. And then Hunt at right tackle. Hunt was good yesterday. He didn't allow pressure. So shout out Robert Hunt.
Was Hunt at tackle or guard?
I actually think Hunt was playing guard.
Yeah, no, Hunt's been guard all year. So I think.
Oh yeah, my bad. Hunt.
No,
yeah,
I know it's confusing because Jesse Davis and he flips everywhere. Boys, what's the stats? The wide receiver had one. I know there's injuries now, but are they serious? None of them are serious. Besides Phil Fuller being suspended week 1, we'll have all the dogs ready to go against the Patriots, ready to go to war in Foxborough, and we're gonna smack them in the mouth.
Yeah, as far as I know, none of the injuries are serious. It's just like precautionary things, There's a lot of veterans in that wide receiver room. Parker, Fuller, and Wilson are all in their second, third contracts. So, once they have that, that training camp experience, and that preseason experience, what you're getting out of them at this point. So you get a little bit dinged up in training camp, then just play it safe. Don't risk anything further. Don't force them out there if they don't need to be. Hopefully they're all good by week 1. As mentioned earlier, Phil Fuller will be out. Shame. But it's a deep wide receiver group. Lynn Bowden showed out yesterday. He's fighting for a roster spot. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully everything's good by week 1. That's really all we can hope for. So while Connor's dealing with that, we'll move on to our third dud. Reed Sinnett. I know Sinnett, his stat line looked all right. He had a very nice 3rd and 15 run, converted the first down. But Sinnett is just not showing me that he has what it takes to even play at a decent level in the NFL. Especially he failed to execute when it mattered. That's the thing. On 3rd downs and 4th downs.
Yeah, I don't want to see him. I mean, I don't think any Dolphin fan intends to see him play this year. Besides week 17 when we got a bye, okay? Or not a bye, when we don't need to really play. You feel me? Or week 18. Gosh, this is weird. Week 18.
Weeks now.
That's trippy. So week 18, when the Dolphins clinch the playoff spot, we'll see some Reed Sinnett. No, I'm kidding. I'm not cocky. I'm not cocky.
He probably spends the year on the practice squad, which, good. All right. Practice squad quarterback. Yeah, on the 4th downs and 3rd downs, he just wasn't executing. And it's preseason. It's your 3rd string quarterback with your 3rd string offense. You're not going to expect much out of it. I just had a little bit of trouble finding some true duds from yesterday because it wasn't a bad game from any Dolphins really. But the fourth that I have here, probably the most surprising thing out of the game yesterday, the thing I wasn't expecting was Malcolm Brown to be running with the first team offense. My expectation was that they were holding Gaskin and Ahmed. My expectation is that they were holding them out, and Brown was just next man up. But Gaskin and Ahmed got touches in the second quarter. Brown went 9 carries for 8 yards with the first team offense.
It's literally Jordan Howard. Let's just hope this is deception. It's like, hey teams, when you're preparing for us, we're gonna run Malcolm Brown all the time. And then week 1 we're running zone, run a motion with Waddle. Got Savann Ahmed with his top end speed, just pray to God. You feel me? But that's what we're hoping for. But you can never trust these Dolphins offenses to do the right thing. I think this year we got it, but I don't have the trust until I truly see it.
Yeah, same here. I've held off on saying this because I'm trying to be optimistic, but I honestly think Malcolm Brown might just be another Jordan Howard.
I just want him in the goal line, right? Like I said, goal line back,
Jordan Howard
inches situation. And then even the thing with and this is probably why he probably got first team reps, is he's, from what I've heard, I'm not going to act like I've seen it, but from what I've heard, Malcolm Brown's phenomenal in pass pro, and that earns you a big role. So, but that's the only role I want to see him in terms of true production and ball carrying. I want to see it between Gaskin and Ahmed, the Washington Huskies. And then Spanos got a question. So, fellas, Gesicki leads the team in receiving touchdowns. Prove me wrong.
What's up, Spano?
It's tough. I think it's going to be spread around so much, but it's not a bad guess, especially big body, and him and Tua's got a good connection now. I can see a Spano. You make a good point.
Yeah, I'd actually have to agree with you. Like if I had to put money on anybody leading this team interception touchdowns, it would probably be Gesicki. He's the best red zone target easily. Maybe behind Devontae Parker, but there's no guarantee that Devontae stays on the field. And Gesicki, the best red zone target, and he's entering that 4th year now. 4th year is the biggest year for tight ends. That's when we see a lot of them break out, truly have their big years. In ATDs in 15 games last season, you could see even bigger year. He probably takes a little bit of a decline in between the 20s with the new weapons in Fuller and Waddle. But I think in the red zone, a good tight end is a young quarterback's best friend. We all know that. So Tua will lean on him in the red zone. He likes going to Gesicki in the red zone. He had 2 very nice touchdowns that I can recall. One against the Bengals, that was a jump ball. And then one against the Chiefs. It was one of Chan Gailey's few good play designs from last year.
And a thing I will say is that, Tua wasn't comfortable throwing to size last year, is what I definitely noticed. You can tell he's now comfortable throwing to size, throwing it where only the big dog can get it. I won't say he was used to throwing to wide open receivers in Bama. That happened, but it's a different thing. He didn't throw to any big dogs at big tall receivers at Alabama. So when you go to the Dolphins, you got Devontae Parker and Gesicki. That's a whole different thing in learning how to throw to those guys. And I think it's pretty evident to me that he's comfortable doing that now.
Yeah, and there was a play I forgot to mention. I think probably my favorite throw outside of the 30-yard throw to Gesicki. It was Gesicki's other reception. It was 3rd and 5. Tua hit it in a very, very tight window on an out route to Gesicki, who made a pretty amazing catch. It was probably my favorite throw of the day from Tua. So, I agree. He'll probably lean on Gesicki a lot, and I'm very excited to see what Gesicki does this year. But going back to our duds, our Gesicki was not a dud, obviously, but the goal line offense. I just decided to lump this in together. I considered putting Ethan Carter up here because he totally whiffed on an assignment. But just the goal line offense as a whole, Dieter got put on his ass. Jackson got pushed back. Malcolm Brown wasn't exactly inspiring on the goal line. The goal line offense, the second drive. Yeah, the second drive. They got down to the 1. They had 2 plays from the 1. And they failed on both of them miserably. So I got to hope that Charlie Fry was calling the plays yesterday. I got to hope that they don't try and do anything fancy from now on the goal line and just pound it straight up and in.
Well, I think that's what they kind of tried to do, and it just straight up didn't work. And I feel like it hasn't worked last year. I don't know if it's going to – I think the biggest thing for the offense is they're going to have to do some cute things in the red zone. Mm-hmm. just use the scheme and the players to their advantage rather than. Well, and to be fair, I will say, like, what went wrong, Flores explained in the presser, like, in that situation, you need to get a hat on a hat, and they didn't, and that's what was, but, like, consistently happening is not good. So it needs to get cleaned up, but I think in the offense in general, you need to see the scheme be used more to help because, like I said, I don't think the line's good enough to create much push. So I think you got to help use the scheme to the advantage there.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't mind to see them pull out that hook and ladder play again that they pulled on the Patriots. I love that.
And McVay stole it.
Yeah, and that's also on special teams, Crossman and Flores, they love to draw up like the weirdest plays.
Honestly, that's probably our best goal line offense is let's our special teams coordinator just run the plays because he's better than our offensive coordinators of all time. Swear to God.
Oh my God. Yeah, that play. I really wish they had that play last year. Frankie, how do you guys feel about Tua this season? We touched on that a little bit earlier in the show. We're optimistic.
Good.
That's really, to sum it up, big picture. We're optimistic. None of us are expecting him to be elite. None of us are expecting him to, go 4,500 yards and 4.
He might. Here's the thing. Especially, I think this offense can shock a lot of people, or it could just be mediocre. But, like, you tell me if everyone's healthy and the coordinators are actually able to do what we think they might be able to do, there could be a situation, because you think about it. You got Will Fuller and Waddle just running free. Like, you got slants going for touchdowns. You got running past people, miscommunication. Like, there is a situation where Tua could take over and light up the league. I'm not saying be MVP-like, but I'm saying, like, he could carry the offense. Did you freeze? I think he froze. Okay, I guess it's just me now. This is what's going on, guys. Didn't expect this to happen. Justin's experiencing weather difficulties. I think his house is getting hit by a hurricane. Don't know, but let's just. He had the PowerPoint. I'm lost, so I'm just gonna go rambling because that's what I can do. Okay, so let's keep it on the topic of Tua. Listen, everyone wants to criticize everything he does. I mean, he threw a pick and it wasn't good. Let's be real. It was a late throw over the middle, but it's very fixable. He's hitting his targets. He's hitting them in stride. When you match in a potential better run game, his full receivers, because literally Wilson, Parker, and Fuller were all gone. Let's see what Splash is saying. Over under of Tua stats. That's a good idea because we need something to help buy time for my dog Justin to potentially come back. But like I said, there's a lot of potential there. I don't think he's gonna have a bad season whatsoever. I think he's too. I don't know how to put it. He's not gonna throw a lot of picks, and the Dolphins' defense is gonna be too good for him to be noticeably bad. But if he's able to complement the defense, like I'm telling you, the Dolphins' offense is all right. So here we go. Over under 4,000 yards. I'm gonna go. It's different now. Is once again extra game. I'm going over. I think he touches 4,200. I expect Tua the ball. Let's see. Like I said, improved weapons. It's a big dub. Over under 24.5 passing touchdowns. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go over. This is not good. I'm gonna say over every single time, aren't I? I'm gonna go over though. I'm just saying, like, you're talking about 17 games. That means it's like a touchdown and not even a half a game. Wait, yeah, not even a half a game. I think that's manageable. Oh, we got polls going on in the chat too. Okay. I think he goes under 24.5, linking up, as my dog Spanos said in the chat, finding Gesicki. I think there's going to be a lot of big plays that we didn't have last year with Fuller and Waddle taking slants to the cribbo. RPOs for days. Come on now. I think that's a more fair analysis. The thing is just like I don't know how many yards our run game is going to be able to get. So I think like for like if the RPO game is good and he's just a big play potential could just increase the yardage, but I don't know if he's going to be airing it out too much. That's a fair point. I wonder what his rushing stats are. Could Dolphins beat New England or Buffalo, though? This is the thing. People are really shitting on New England. I think of them extremely highly, especially this year. I think the Dolphins can very well beat both of those teams. I think they beat New England last year. Obviously, they got better. I think the Dolphins are likely to split with New England for sure. Buffalo is always. Oh, we got Justin back on the phone.
Hey,
Let's
up?
go, baby. I was talking, and then I was sending it to you, and I was like, why is he not talking? And I was like, oh, he's frozen.
Yeah, finish it up and I'll explain. But
we got a question asking if the Dolphins could beat New England or Buffalo. I think the Dolphins can very well go 500 with New England. In terms of Buffalo is always Dayball. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing his name. He kind of fluffed up Flores both times with his scheming. So if Flores can't adjust to that, then Buffalo can very well beat us twice again this year. But I'd like to be able to steal a game from them.
yeah, so I have storms in the area. Sorry, I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show. Storms in the area, so internet's, yeah, who knows. But yeah, I'm back now on my phone. But unfortunately, that does mean I've lost the Google slide. Splash, I don't know if you can pull that up. But our next topic was the preview of next week's game against the Atlanta Falcons. Miami plays the Falcons on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Do you happen to know?
I don't know when it is. I'm not going to lie. I just know it's the Falcons, and we got some joint practices with them, which I'm a big fan of.
I believe it's on
Friday. I don't know
Friday.
when the day is.
My computer internet's back, but I don't want to mess up the flow. But I will.
Yeah, now you're chilling.
Yeah. So next week against the Falcons, I believe it's on Friday. Hold on, let me. Okay, I got. Oh crap! Give me one.
Oh, he's gone again, baby. It looks like it's just me. Once again, I want to shout out Moaz for the good question and everyone else interacting in the chat. We appreciate you. He was talking about the preview. So I'm not gonna jump the gun because I don't know if he'll be back quick. I think that might have been an accidental dip out. I don't think he got hit.
Hello.
He's back.
All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, game on Friday against the Falcons. I apologize if I sound different. I'm using different headphones now. But so we each have a few things that we want to look for. My first key is offensive line improvement. I want to see improvement across the board, especially with Austin Jackson. But I want to see guys like Robert Hunt, guys like Solomon Kinley really start to get some true push. And I want to see them play better as a unit. I want consistency across the line, especially on the goal line, which I'll touch on in a little bit later. But Connor, you have a similar first point right there, Austin Jackson in pass protection.
Yeah, it was just so obvious how bad it was that I think he's still so young. I think it's gonna be a bumpy road, and we just gotta hope he comes out on the other side good. But we just want to see some more improvement, more consistency. I think it can happen, but we just want to see it.
Yeah. So my second point, execution and play calling on the goal line. I want to see, like you mentioned earlier, more dynamic play calling, something that fits the players a little bit more, because this offensive line is not exactly built for brute running straight up the middle.
I'll agree with that, but it's preseason, so we can't fully get a good judge of that. And also, I don't want to see it in the preseason. If you got cool
yeah, that's fair.
Save it for the regular season. But we got a question in the chat from my dog Moaz. If I'm pronouncing it right, I can't see. There we go. I don't know if you'll have done this, but we have two ranked among AFC East cubes. It's tough because there's two rookies.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not better than Josh Allen. I'm a fan of Cam. Obviously, last year he sucked post-COVID, but pre-COVID, the dude was a balling.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's fair to put a rookie over him, period.
Yeah.
So I would say 2-3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my quarterback rankings, which I could honestly just pull up right now. Josh Allen is the clear number one. I don't expect a repeat performance from Josh Allen, but he is obviously the number one in the AFC East. For the exact rankings, I put Tua at quarterback 23, right behind Jimmy Garoppolo and right in front of Cam Newton. So they're pretty much interchangeable. Like Connor said, 2-3. Cam was doing really well last year, pre-COVID. COVID definitely had an effect on him. We could all see it. My thing with Cam is just like, who knows how that shoulder is going to be going forward.
The shoulder is a question mark, but the thing is too, like he went into that offense in like May, so like he had like 2 months in the COVID season. I think a full year. And the thing is like they're going to be able to run the ball down people's mouths. So when you got Cam's, I mean, that's the thing too, is like he's taken so many injuries, like little small things that like he can't run the same either, but he's still always going to be a threat. So the thing is, we're not going to be stupid and say Tua's QB1. Like we have fair expectations for the guy. So 2-3, like yeah.
So. Why don't we go on to Connor's second point, improvement in the run game? That's something I want to see as well.
Yeah, it's kind of back to what you said. Like, I just don't see this team consistently being able to create lanes and push. Like, it's always messy. Like, we'll get a nice run every, 5 plays. It's just like, and then you see other teams be able to run the ball. It's just like, that's nice. Like, I want to see that. So, it's just a down in, down out basis. Just want to see better. And that's the thing, especially – against the Falcons, which the Bears front is nasty. You got Khalil Mack, all the big dogs in the trenches. Like, those are some tough guys to move. The Falcons, although they do got my dog Grady Jarrett, they got Fowler and then but I mean he's a smaller kind of guy. I'm missing the other dog out of crap.
They have another middle linebacker.
No, I'm thinking about Foyesade Lukan.
Yeah, he's underrated. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but he's more of a pass pro guy, or pass coverage guy. He's smaller. I want to be able to move the guy. Crap, I'm missing the guy. He's a rookie from
Marlon Davidson, maybe.
There you go.
Yeah,
Marlon Davidson.
I have a Madden franchise where I rebuilt the Falcons, so I actually know their roster pretty well.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, they're not the Bears. You got to be able to move those guys if you want to be able to consistently run the ball, basically.
Yeah, speaking of that Madden franchise, I totally overhauled the Falcons roster, especially that defense. It's not good.
Yeah.
But my third point, something I'm intrigued to see. I don't believe Kyle Pitts played last week. Did he? I don't believe he did.
I wasn't able to watch any Falcons games. I feel like I saw Kyle Pitts highlights. I don't know if it was in preseason or if it was
Splash just posted in a private chat. Yeah, he did not play last week. So if he does play this week, I'm excited to see how he matches up against Eric Rowe. Because as we all know, as all Dolphins fans know, Eric Rowe is a resident tight end eraser. He shuts down any guy not named Darren Waller or Travis Kelce.
Well, he even shut those guys down. Besides, he didn't shut them down. That's poorly worded. He was all over them in coverage. It's not like they created separation. It was just literally they were jump balls. And that's what Kyle Pitts excels at. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pitts makes a play, but it's not going to be without Eric Rowe being right at his hands.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that matchup. I think Eric Rowe has his work cut out for him, but Kyle Pitts also has his work cut out for him. You're highlighting a couple players here, Nick Needham and Justin.
So I mentioned this earlier before, but the Dolphins brought in Justin Coleman in the free agency to compete with Nick Needham, and Nick Needham's looked great in camp and great in that preseason game, and Coleman's also as well. They're both pretty physical at the line, and they've both done a good job. I think right now Coleman's been running with the ones, but I can comfortably interchange either one, and I'd be confident that they can do a good job. So it's just gonna be interesting to see how they continue to battle.
So going on to my last 2 points, I want to see more, playmaking from our rookies. I don't know if Eichenberg will be out there, but our other 3 guys, Jalen Phillips, Jalen Waddle, and Javon Holland. Holland was all over the place in practice. I'm kind of hoping to see him, truly make his presence felt next week against probably the Falcons' backup offense. I don't know if Matt Ryan will play, but I'm hoping to see him out there, running around, running crazy, make some plays, perhaps break up a ball. Jalen Phillips, you'll talk about him a little bit. I hope if he gets out there, I believe his matchup would either be Jake Matthews or I forget their left tackle. I don't know who it is at the moment, but I hope he gets out there, gets some pressures if he does end up being out there. And Jalen Waddle, he had that punt return, but I want to see him make some plays in the passing game. Hopefully, show off a little bit of that speed, especially against the weaker Falcons secondary.
That was something I was very close to writing down, was just seeing Waddle more in the receiving room. And the thing is like he provides value just being on the field, being able to stretch the safeties, but I don't think he got a target from what I remember. Like he was just, the play would develop and sometimes two would have time and then you just wouldn't see him. So I would like to see Waddle get more involved offensively. My next 2 points, kind of the same thing. It's will Jalen Phillips or the starting receivers play. I just want to see Phillips. The guy's a specimen, very good pass rushing ability, and he's been good against the run as well. So he's still battling and coming back from the injury. I think if it was a regular season game, he would have played, obviously, but they're not going to rush him back for a preseason game. So it'd be interesting to see if he gets some playing time and see how he does. And then I just want to see how the offense looks when we got everybody out there, because that's what I'm most excited for. Like, that's why I'm not getting like too high or low for preseason. Like when you have all those guys out there and you guys hopefully have the coordinators doing what, and this is what the players are saying. So I'm confident that they will, but the coordinators doing what's best for how the players play. I really think the sky's the limit for this offense. So
yeah,
I just want to see how it looks.
Or either you fidget. Oh, that's me. My bad. So my last point would be consistency, something that we have not seen out of Miami in multiple decades now. It's been up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. I just like consistent good is what I want to see. At least, consistently run the ball, consistently make plays, build on last week and improve, keep trending upwards. That's what I want to see, because it feels like all too familiar at this point. It's like things start to go well and then it just falters.
Yeah, I think I have enough trust in Flores to hope for that. I mean, we went from 5 wins to 10 wins. I don't know if we're not going to go to 15 wins, but I think if we're in the 9 to 11 win range, like that's what I want. And the thing with Flores that does a little bit concern me is I went into a YouTube comment argument with someone a week ago. I was like, I've never done this before. He kind of brought up a good point, though. It's like Flores is a great coach, but his ability in his first 2 years to provide, or hire rather, like good offensive coaches has yet to be seen. So I think this is the year. This year depends on how well those coordinators really do, because we know the defense is going to ball. They got depth, and they multiple. So it should be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. And like even just like on a play-by-play basis, like I want to see, good drives being strung together, like multiple good drives at a time, multiple scoring drives at a time, because it feels like sometimes like we'll get a touchdown drive here, then like a couple punts, and then a field goal, and then a turnover. Just I want to see like consistent drives, good drives strung together.
Yeah.
But, on that note, why don't we hop into any questions that we have in the limited time that we have left? One of our friends on the app posted a question in the chat. Offensive line has been a big topic over the past couple of days. And our friend on the app, Daniel Paris 24, wants to know, what should the Dolphins do in order to improve the O-line, who could be a potential trade target for them? So I remember seeing a rumor earlier that the Dolphins were indeed looking to trade for a veteran offensive lineman, a veteran offensive tackle, that is. I believe one of the Eagles tackles was in play. I'm not
Dillard?
Maybe. I do not know.
I mean, that'd be cool. I don't think it's a realistic expectation at this point for the Dolphins. I don't see the Dolphins doing it. I'd be cool. I'd be for it. Seeing them make a splash, like especially we have so much draft capital. Like it's as much as people don't want to think it. Like the Dolphins are kind of in win now mode. So I'd be down to trade premium capital. I don't see them kind of pulling the trigger on that, and I don't know if there's like a guy out there that they'll do it for.
Mhm.
I think the thing I've been mentioning all episode, the best bet for the Dolphins line is just to hope the way you run the scheme will help take pressure off of them, whether it's using Waddle in motion just to like mess with how they have to react to things. I think that's going to be your best bet. Hopefully, I think the Dolphins will be able to hold their own against mediocre defensive fronts.
Mhm.
But when you're playing the Patriots and you're playing the Bear, like teams with nasty fronts, it could be ugly. So
Most definitely. Yeah, I honestly don't see them making like any sort of big splash. They might bring in like a veteran backup because we lost DJ Fluker to injury. They ended up releasing him. So they may be looking for his replacement on the trade market. So, but that would probably we'd probably only be giving up like a 6th or 7th round pick at that point. Yeah, offensive line. I agree with your point. You just got to hope for improvement, and if not, there's a lot of good guys in next year's draft to look forward to,
I don't even know
which I will be talking about on the clock once that returns. So stay on the lookout for that on draft season. But with all that said, we're an hour in at this point, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Connor, thank you for joining me here today. Dolphins next game Friday, I believe, against Atlanta. So we'll hope to have a show either next Saturday, next Sunday, maybe. We'll see how our work schedules align.
Can I make any predictions this episode? Because last episode I made a prediction and it hit within like 12 hours. I'm pretty incredible. So.
Oh yeah, first episode you were like, we were both like, yeah, we were pretty sure Xavier will get a deal done within the next 24 hours, and then boom, he had a contract.
Splasher goated for putting all these quotes up. I love it. The Zach Wilson thing, I meant like five picks within the season, not one game. I know he's bad, but he's not that bad. I'll have some respect for him. So shout out my dog Dan in the chat, going ham.
Thanks for
appreciate you.
Shout out. We appreciate you a lot. We appreciate everyone who tuned in. So if you want more content, follow us on Instagram at the Dolphins Dive, same as Twitter. Join us on the U Stadium app. My username is JWD. His is Connor Nace. Join producer Splash and all the rest of the people. It's a fun place to just hang out, talk sports, occasionally get into a fight if that's your cup of tea. Yeah. With all that said, good show today. We'll hope to see you all next week. Hope to see more interactions, more questions. Hope there's a lot of more content to talk about with this Falcons game that's coming up. And we'll maybe get into a little bit of non-Dolphins content because we had some lined up today with the rookie quarterbacks, but obviously there was the technical issues. I very much apologize for that.
I just started rambling. You should have been there. It was crazy.
I'll take a look back. Hopefully it wasn't too awkward. If it happens again, hopefully it doesn't happen again next week. Hopefully Zeus decides that he doesn't hate me anymore. But appreciate everybody who tuned out. You guys are legends. Once again, join us on the U Stadium app, and we will see you guys next week.